This video is a short introduction about Mastodon. It's a Twitter alternative. I'm not going to say what's the best solution. There's a lot of controversy about Twitter versus Mastodon versus Twitter. I just want to give you an overview what foojay has done by creating an own Mastodon instance, an own Mastodon server for the Java community. If you want to learn more about Mastodon, the best starting point is join mastodon.org. Here you will find all the information about the system. So what is Mastodon? It is a messaging platform. Some call it a micro-blogging platform, so you can share messages just like on Twitter, but you will have you can have more text in a message like that. But it's a distributed system, so that means that there's compared to Twitter, which has one instance, Mastodon has a lot of different instances. If we go to the documentation, we can read more about it. So it's decentralized. That means that there are different Mastodon servers around the world, either by commercial companies or just by volunteers who set up a Mastodon instance. So if you have an address, it's not, for me, it's not just at Frank Del Porte, but it's at Frank Del Porte at foojay.social. It's more like an email address. So it defines also on which server that your account is hosted. It's not one instance, it's a lot of instances that are available. So it's decentralized, meaning that you also can have servers for a specific target audience or a specific interest. Like, for instance, we have foojay.social, which is a Mastodon instance for friends of OpenJDK, for all the people involved in the Java community or people who are building libraries on top of the JVM. It can be Kotlin, can be any other language which has a link with Java. Now, Mastodon is also open source. That means that the sources of this project, you can just visit them, take a look at it, contribute, have ideas, report bugs. But maybe the most important thing is it's not for sale. So this means that the project as such, the Mastodon servers, the code of it is not for sale, but also the data is not for sale. Because it's decentralized, different people are maintaining these servers. So you are a bit tied to the person who is maintaining your instance. You have to be aware that the administrator of a Mastodon server can read the messages, but only the admin can do that. Even if you have private messaging, the admin is able to read that. Which is a bit different, like for instance on Twitter, where everyone which is working at Twitter is able to read all your messages. For Mastodon, it's only the admin of your server which can do this. And it's built on open standards. That means that it's activity pub, which is there to share these messages, that Mastodon can connect to other types of instances, other types of services, and vice versa. Now, as I said, it's decentralized, so you have to pick a server where you want to join. So if you are new to Mastodon and you want to create an account, you have to pick a server. Now, there are a lot of servers available. You can find them here also on joinmastodon.org. You can select them by region. You can select them by topic. And a lot of servers are listed here, but there are even a lot more which are not yet in this list. Because of the popularity of Mastodon and all the extra members that wanted to join in the recent weeks and months, a lot of these servers stopped accepting new accounts because they were just overloaded. There were too many people wanting to join these instances. So that's why also a lot of new services popped up. So like, for instance, foojay.social. We saw that a lot of people wanted to join, a lot of people from the Java community, and they were interested in having an instance for people with the same interests. With foojay, the website for the friends of OpenJDK, we decided to set up our own Mastodon instance. So everyone who's interested in Java, who's working with the language, who's building things on top of the JVM is welcome on this Mastodon server to create an account. Now, if you go to foojay.social, that's where our Mastodon server lives, you see a local timeline. So this local timeline are messages shared by the members of foojay.social. Only the people who have an account here will be shown here in the local timeline. You also have a federated timeline, and this is the list of messages that this server knows of. So everyone who has interacted with people on foojay.social will show up here. Now, if you want to create an account here and become member of foojay.social, you will get some rules. Now, these rules depend on the Mastodon server. So everyone who sets up a Mastodon server can define these are the rules in my community. So for the Java community, of course, we welcome everyone who has some kind of interest or is working on top of OpenJDK. We also want to have a friendly environment, but this is Java community. Of course, that's always friendly. And just a practical thing, it would be nice if you don't upload videos, but just share a link to a video just to keep our cloud cost a bit under control. Now, if you accept these rules, and if you don't accept them, of course, there are other instances you can join which has their own rules. Fill in your data, fill in your email address. We will get a notification that you want to join, and we will just approve it. And from that moment on, you are a member of foojay.social. Now let me quickly show you how you can read and write messages on Mastodon. Okay, I logged into Mastodon with my own account, and then you see on the left the box where you can start writing a new message, and in the middle you will see your timeline. Now this is a timeline which is not controlled by any algorithm. This is just a list of all the people I follow their latest messages. So no advertisements, no promoted tweets, no interaction of some kind of algorithm that tries to push some messages. This is just your timeline. These are the people you decided I want to follow. Now, what I find a better interface is, so if you go to the properties, so you have this enable advanced web interface. If you do this, save it, and now if you go back to Mastodon, you will have additional columns. I prefer this approach, this interface. So again, on the left, this is where you type in your messages. It's just like the same thing. Hashtags are the same. You have some icons you can add, like Foojay has its own icon. So that's how you type in a message. Now, the second column is your timeline again. So these are the messages of the people you want to follow. The next is the notifications. So you can see all your notifications, you can see message mentions, and on the right you have your options. Now somewhere, if you select a person or an account, on the right you will see the profile of that person and its latest messages. And again, if you click on your own name, you will have your own timeline. Here again, you have this local timeline. So that means all the messages of the people on your server. So all the people on foojay.social are now on this right column. And you also have this federated timeline. That's again the same that I showed you before if you just go to foojay.social without an account. And you have your settings preferences. And it's alerting me because I started to type a message. And here are your settings again. Now for your profile, you have your display name, you have a bio. Please make sure to fill this in. That will be a big improvement if people start looking at you to decide if they want to follow you or not. So you can have a header image, you can have an avatar image, and then some other options. Now what's also a very good thing to add is some metadata. So you have 4 fields, and it's up to you what you add here. For me, I added my language and my location, a link to my personal blog, a link to my posts on Foojay, and my GitHub account. Now, some of these, maybe you would have them under your own controls, like my personal blog. And there it's important to add a link back, or it's not important, but it's a verification step. So you can add a link back from your website, for instance, to your profile on Mastodon. So you have this link here that you can copy, this code block. If you do that and you go back to your profile, then you will see that they turn up green. So this is the verified account of Twitter. But instead of paying for this or waiting until someone has reviewed your profile, this is under your control. So this clearly shows that you have control over this website and that you have put a link back to your own Mastodon instance. So these are verified accounts. So people are sure that whatever they see here as your profile is linked to this website. This is a very short introduction of Mastodon. Just go visit the site foojay.social, experiment with it, create an account, read from other people in the Java community or everyone else on Mastodon. A lot of people have added a link to their Mastodon profile on their Twitter profile, so it's easy to find them back on both social media. We have also a webpage on foojay.io explaining why we have set up this Mastodon service, how you can join it, how you can become a member of this foojay.social server. Have fun!